Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from. My name is CJ Curry. This is the CJ Curry Show. It's presented by PrizePicks. PrizePicks, in case you haven't heard, they're making daily fantasy sports easy. All you do is pick your favorite superstars from your favorite sports, combine up to 2, 3, 4, 5, and most recently 6 players to win up to 25 times your money in a single day. Get started with PrizePicks. If you're not playing already, by using promo code Curry, you make your first deposit, you'll get a 100% instant deposit match all the way up to $100, which means your first entry on PrizePicks is completely risk-free. It's on the house. You have nothing to lose. I've left a link down in the description of today's video. If you're not playing on PrizePicks yet, go ahead and get started, guys. Jump in the water, dip your toe in, join us, all of us who already are playing on PrizePicks. Now, yesterday was a pretty good day overall. I think the tacos ended up going, 2 out of 3. We had 2 winning tacos, 1 taco that didn't do so well, right? The first taco of the day, which was Paolo Banchero. I've renamed him, rebranded him Foulo Banchero because he was in so much foul trouble yesterday. He had no chance in the world of hitting his 16.5 discounted player prop. I don't know if anybody saw that coming. Paolo Banchero, not typically somebody who gets into a ton of foul trouble, but yesterday was just one of those days where he could not keep his hands to himself, could not keep himself clean in terms of fouls. So unfortunately, that one did not hit. Didn't even come close to hitting, in fact. That was bad. That was a tough blow. We did have an NHL taco. That one hit. And then we had another NBA taco, LaMelo Ball, who made us sweat. He made us earn every bit of that taco because he got into foul trouble as well. Had like 3 or 4 personal fouls, at the beginning of the third quarter, something along those lines. And we were all holding our breath wondering, oh no, here we go again. LaMelo Ball's about to do us just like Paolo Banchero. I was going to say that those tacos were foul yesterday. Pun intended. But We ended up going 2 out of 3 on Taco, so that ain't too bad. Speaking of not doing too bad, Patreon picks yesterday were pretty good. We did get burned by one. That was Russell Westbrook over first half points at 7.5. My guy had 6 points in the first quarter, only shot the ball once in the second quarter. Could not find that elusive bucket that he needed to put him over 7.5 points. But outside of that, we had Austin Reeves going over points and assists. That hit. We had Tyrese Halliburton going over points and assists. That one hit. And we had John Collins going over 12.5 points. That one hit. And I threw a bonus pick out there. Michael Porter Jr. over 21.5 points and rebounds. And that one hit as well. So you can't be too mad about that. Had 1 dud and 4 that absolutely smacked. But anyways, appreciate everybody being here. Again, if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Get subscribed to the channel. We just hit 7,500 subscribers, so I appreciate all 7,500 of you out there who have hit the subscribe button. We ran the likes up to over 130 yesterday. Guys, I'm setting the line today at 101.5. That means 101.5 likes. I'm taking the over. The line yesterday was 99.5. We crushed it with 130 plus likes. Let's see if we could go over 101.5. There's usually a couple of hundred of people that are watching me here live on YouTube each day. So as long as about half of you do your job, listen, I've already hit the like button myself. So that's really 100.5 likes. But as long as the rest of you do your job, we'll get there, no problem. Speaking of those that are watching live, D'Angelo's in the building. He says, good morning to everyone except for Paolo Banchero and Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole, I'm not quite sure which Jordan Poole prop you picked, but yeah, he didn't have the greatest of games. It was kind of a Klay Thompson night last night. No Limits in the building. You flex, I flex back. Thanks for being here, Mr. No Limit. We got Chris Raptor here. He says, poor Paolo showed why he is a rookie versus LeBron James. No doubt about that. Could not stay out of foul trouble, as we talked about. Everyday Fantasy says, what it do, fam? Today is a new day with new money. That's right, brother. You flex. You know, I got to flex back. High Flyer 89 says, yo, Curry, thank you for everything you do. Just want to let you know that this year you have been crazy and successful. Well, I appreciate that. I thank you for being a part of our Patreon and Discord community, Mr. Flyer. Love having you around. Appreciate you being with us. Harley's Joker says, Paolo cost me $800. Whew. Yeah, that Russell Westbrook first half points prop, that cost me about $300. So I know the pain. Wesley Winston's in the building. He says, what's up, boss man? Wes already dropped one on us in the Discord. He's liking some Nikola Vucevic today. We'll talk about that pick once we get around to it. Todd's in the building. He says, good morning. Hit big last night. Hoping for another. Good luck to everyone. Good luck back to you, my friend. Who else we got here? AOD says, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Fade the public. All right. Little words of wisdom there from AOD. Good morning to you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Jay says, let's get it, boys. We eating good tonight. Love the positive attitude, the positive energy. We need that to get back on track after that Paolo Banchero taco. RJ says, not going to lie, Halliburton shocked me. Halliburton didn't hit his assist prop. I know a lot of people were on the assist for Halliburton, but I went points and assists. He's got a 75% hit rate. It's even higher now when he plays at home. He was 100% on back-to-back games as well. He has not missed his points plus assist prop at 29.5 in back-to-back scenarios. Games where he's had 0 days rest, 100% hit rate. So I went with it and it ended up coming through. Jonathan says, good morning from Wisconsin. I'm sure it's very cold up there because it's cold down here in sunny Tampa, Florida. And I can only imagine how much colder it gets up there in Wisconsin. Let's see. Tyrone's in the building. Good morning to you. Fear Shaolin. Good call yesterday on that Monty Morris rebounds and assists. If you guys saw Fear Shaolin's super chat yesterday, he ended up coming through with a nice little pick there. That Monty Morris absolutely was a slapper. Mikey Mars says, Patreon gang in the house. Thanks for being here. Bradley says, LaMelo was very unfortunate for me. He did not hit his 3-point prop. I can tell you that. Bearded Gator says, what's up? We got a couple of new subs coming through. Carson Cross, thanks for being here. Kirk, thank you for being here. Dante, good afternoon to you. Let's make some money today. Love that. Ethan, yo. Hayes, what's up? Jay Meza says, great night yesterday. DeMar DeRozan over 4.5 assists and Brook Lopez over points and rebounds today. Looks great. All right, we'll take a look. Trez, shout out to you. Thanks for being here. All right. Guys, we got to pick a winner from yesterday's comment section. Why I tell you to subscribe, why I tell you to hit the like button on every show that I do here is for two reasons. A, it helps support the channel, and B, I give back to you guys by giving you an opportunity to win a risk-free two-pick power play on PrizePicks to score $100. There's three things that you got to do, three simple steps. Be a subscriber, hit the like button, and once the show ends, the replay goes up on YouTube. You go to the comment section, comment your favorite pick, your favorite prop of the day. I'm picking somebody from the comment section every single day to win a risk-free two-pick power play on PrizePicks. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's knock that out and get that out of the way. I want to pick a winner from yesterday's comment section. As you can see, I've already loaded yesterday's comments into our comment picker. There was a total of 31. 31 unique comments from yesterday's comment section. So all we do now, hit the start button. It'll randomize, it'll raffle off a random comment. And then you guys got to shoot me a DM. Let's see if we got a unique winner today. Todd, you won recently. I don't know if you're joining me here, Todd, but you missed out the other day. I never got a DM from you to receive your risk-free two-pick power play. Here's another chance for you to redeem this. Todd, I see you in the comments or in the live chat right now, so to speak. Todd, all you got to do now, you got to DM me, buddy. You just got to send me a DM on Twitter at Curry the Creator, or jump in the free Discord. There's a link for the Discord down in the description of today's video. Shoot me a DM. I need your PrizePicks email address so I can get this risk-free two-pick power play added to your PrizePicks account. So Todd, you didn't claim the last one, all right? Hopefully you see this and you claim this one today, all right? Shoot me a DM. You have won a risk-free two-pick to score $100 on PrizePicks. So Todd was liking Luka Doncic over 9.5. He matched it with Tatum over 14.5 and Adams over 9.5 PRA first half. He had a nice little three-pick power play. So that was Todd's comment from yesterday's show. So congratulations, Todd. Again, shoot me that DM so I can get you that risk-free two-pick power play to score $100. $100 over on PrizePicks, all right? It's all about the Benjamins, baby. So appreciate everybody who subscribed, who liked, who's commenting daily. Guys, I'm picking a new winner every single day. Make sure that you're not missing out on your opportunity for some promo cash, all right? You turn that promo cash into real credits, then you can withdraw it, all right? It's free money, free money. All right, let's play some Larry Birdle. We're trying to get our brains warmed up. It's very cold outside, no matter where you live these days. So we do a little warm-up session here by trying to guess today's NBA mystery player using Larry Birdle. So let's figure it out. Our thumbnail player of the day is Kevin Durant. We'll talk about why I chose Kevin Durant as our thumbnail player in just a moment. But we'll start things off by guessing KD. Here's what I can tell you. Our mystery player is not Kevin Durant. Not Kevin Durant, not a member of the Brooklyn Nets either, not a member of the Eastern Conference. So obviously wouldn't be in the Atlantic Division. So we're looking for a Western Conference player who is a forward. This player is a forward who is around 6'8", 6'9", a little bit shorter than 6'10". Age is going to be below 34, someone younger than Kevin Durant. And we're looking for a jersey number that is higher than number 7. So let me remind you guys of some of the players that they've thrown our way recently. They usually go pretty deep into the bench. You don't usually get starters. You got Troy Brown Jr., Jared Vanderbilt, Tari Eason, Dwight Powell, Garrett Temple, Boban. Those are some of the names that they've thrown at us here in recent Larry Birdle games that we've played. So we got to go out west. We know that. We're looking for a forward. We know that. We're looking for somebody who's younger than 34 years old, shorter than 6'10". So that could really go a lot of different ways. Probably not going to be Jared Vanderbilt, being that it was Jared Vanderbilt a couple days ago. So we're not going to go Jared Vanderbilt in this case. You guys are throwing out some other names. Luka, let's go Luka Doncic. Because why not? Guys, I don't know if you saw last night, but this is a good opportunity to talk about what Luka Doncic did last night. He made history. The only player in NBA history to have at least 60 points, at least 20 rebounds, and at least 10 assists. I hope you guys were able to witness greatness and history being made last night. Luka Doncic had himself quite a fantastic game. So the Luka Doncic guess gets us a lot closer. It is not Luka Doncic, but this player, again, is in the Western Conference. We're looking for somebody in the Southwest Division who is either a forward or a guard. Between 6'7" and 6'10", so probably 6'8", 6'9", like I kind of assumed. Luka's too old In fact, at 23 years young, Luka Doncic too old. The mystery player we're looking for is going to be younger than 23. And that jersey number that Luka wears, that odd 77 jersey number, that's too high. It is not going to be Luka Doncic, but it is a very good guess. So we're looking for somebody in the Southwest Division just to help you guys out. The divisions that the teams that are in the Southwest Division, we're looking for either a Houston Rocket, a Memphis Grizzly, New Orleans Pelican, or a San Antonio Spur. And it's got to be a young fella who plays forward. A young fella who plays forward. Now, some of you guys are guessing Jabari Smith. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the silhouette here. We got another broccoli-shaped looking player here. Another player who has a pencil neck and a puffy head. All right. Another one of these broccoli looking fellas. The broccoli haircut is in style, apparently. That is not Jabari Smith, because Jabari Smith keeps it low as far as his haircut. He keeps a low cut. This is not Jabari Smith. Not Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram's going to be too old. We're looking for somebody under the age of 23. Herb Jones? Who? Herb Jones. I don't think that's Herb Jones's haircut, but listen, we're going to guess it because Herb Jones is he's at least in the right division, right? All right. Herbert Jones, haircut didn't really fit the profile of the mystery player here, but it does get us a step closer. Not quite there yet. Herbert Jones actually older than Luka Doncic by a year. Kind of surprising. I thought he was a little bit younger. And his jersey number 5, not going to cut it. Jared Allen doesn't qualify. He is in the East. You guys are saying Trey Murphy. Not going to be Trey Murphy because this player is not on the New Orleans Pelicans. So it cannot be Trey Murphy. We're looking for a Grizzly, a Rocket, or a Spur. All right, I can tell you that. It's going to be a player for one of those teams. A Grizzly, a Rocket, or a Spur. Marvin Bagley, he's out east. Cade Cunningham, he's out east. KPJ, I don't think that's KPJ, but let's go with it because he is a Houston Rocket. Maybe that'll help us get a little bit closer. I'm almost certain this is not Kevin Porter Jr. It is not. And this mystery player does not play for the Houston Rockets. So at least we know that much. All right, we're looking for a power forward. Now that we know that it's not a Houston Rockets, it's either got to be a Memphis Grizzly or a San Antonio Spur. We've pretty much got it narrowed down to a Memphis Grizzly or a San Antonio Spur. Now, this is not sparking anything for me. This player must be very deep on the bench, whoever this is. Josh Christopher? Isn't he with the Rockets? Josh Christopher? I could be wrong. They're trying to go deep on the bench. Josh Richardson? Josh Richardson's probably going to be a little too old, my friend. We're looking for somebody who's younger than 22 years old. This person is a baby. It's a baby. All right? We're looking for a baby in this league. Some of the names y'all are throwing out, they're too old. Bates? What's his first name? Keita Bates Diop? Is not Keita Bates Diop. But it is a San Antonio Spur. That is a tough name to say. It is a San Antonio Spur, so at least we got the right team. We're looking for a forward from the Spurs who's a little taller than 6'8", probably 6'9", and younger than 22 years old. Who else? We've got it pretty much. We're there. We're knocking on the door. I don't think that's Trey Jones. Trey Jones going to be a guard, right? We're looking for a forward. This guy's got to be at least 6'9". Jeremy Sokan, I don't think it's Sokan either. That's not Sokan's haircut. He keeps that low Dennis Rodman dyed snow cone pink haircut. I don't think it's Keldon Johnson either, gang. No, I don't think it is. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Keldon Johnson does not have that haircut. I'm pretty sure. Let's guess, though. Nope, not Keldon Johnson. Guys, we are on guess number 7 out of 8. 7 out of 8. We're running out of guesses. That is not me. I can promise you that. Bobby Portis, no. Isaiah Roby. Is Roby on the Spurs now? That could be Isaiah Roby. I remember him from OKC. It is not Isaiah Roby. Oh, damn. We are on our last guess. This might be the first time we do not get this Larry Birdle puzzle solved, gang. It is not Isaiah Roby. We're right there. We're right there. Barlow, Stanley Johnson. I don't think it's Stanley Johnson. Stanley Johnson? Y'all are saying Johnson? Romeo Langford? I don't even think I got Stanley Johnson on here. No, Stanley Johnson's not even an option. Romeo Langford? Y'all think it's Barlow? All right. I think Langford might be a little bit too short. Let's go Dominic Barlow. Is this what we're saying? Dominic Barlow for the win? Please don't let us fail. Please don't let us fail. It is Dominic Barlow. Oh my God, Dominic. They did you dirty on that picture, my boy. Oh, Lord Jesus. Looked like he just smelled the cameraman's fart right before he said, say cheese. Somebody cut the cheese. Dominic Barlow. Ooh. That is the correct guess. Whoever said Dominic Barlow, you are right. Dominic Barlow must have ate a Sour Patch Kid before he took that picture. Dominic Barlow is a forward, 6'9". He's only 19 years old. My man's got some growing up to do. He must still be in that ugly duckling phase. I'm sorry, Dominic. I didn't mean to roast you, man, but golly, maybe next year, right? Maybe next year we get you a better picture, Dominic. Unfortunately, that picture is going to live on the internet forever. Anyway, moving on. Congratulations to everybody who guessed Dominic Barlow. Whew, took us 8 guesses. We used all 8. Let's get on to today's NBA slate, gang. We got a 8-game slate to talk about. Appreciate everybody for being here. As always, appreciate the support, the subscribers, the likes, the comments, all the things. You guys are keeping this show going, man. Keeping it going. All right, we got an opportunity to run it back tonight if you wanted to with Paolo Banchero because he's going to be facing off against the Detroit Pistons tonight. It's going to be Fultz, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, Bol, and Mo Wagner manning the starting lineup for the Orlando Magic. They're taking on the Detroit Pistons. Detroit's going to be without Marvin Bagley. They're going to be without Isaiah Livers. This game has a total of 229.5. Plenty of points here, a 1.5 point spread. So it's going to be one that's fairly high scoring, close, and competitive. I think this could be a good bounce back spot for my guy Paolo Banchero after what happened last night. What do you guys think? Are you interested in going back to Paolo Banchero? I like going back to guys after they flop and have bad games. I did that with Tyrese Halliburton yesterday and it ended up paying off for me. So I'm not completely off of Paolo Banchero, especially not at 19.5 points. I know he hasn't hit this in 2 straight games. We talked about the foul trouble against the Lakers last night. That's not going to happen very often. He only had 18 against San Antonio the game before that, but this could be a spot for us to go back to Paolo Banchero tonight. I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there. 19.5 points per game. Paolo's averaging over 20 for the season. I'm not mad at it, all right? I don't hold grudges. I got a short-term memory, all right? Outside of that, Killian Hayes has been doing a pretty good job here lately. We don't really have too many Killian Hayes props. His points are now up to 12.5. He's hit this 11.5 he had hit in 3 straight games, so they bumped it up to 12.5. But maybe some Killian Hayes like points and assists may not be a bad look. Jalen Duren, obviously, goes without saying, has been having some very good games here recently. He's going to have his work cut out for him today going against the Orlando Magic's length. You got 6'10" Franz Wagner, 6'10" Paolo Banchero, 7'2" Bol, 7' Mo Wagner. Then you got guys like Mo Bamba coming off the bench. All right, it's going to be a tough test for Jalen Duren, but could be end up being a good little matchup for him today against the Orlando Magic. Moving on, Phoenix at Washington. This one tips off at 7 p.m. 222.5 points, not a huge total. Spread is 2.5. We talked about the issues that the Phoenix Suns are having here recently with all the injuries. So it's going to be CP3, Damian Lee, Mikal Bridges, Torrey Craig, and DeAndre Ayton in the starting lineup, most likely. Still no Devin Booker, Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson, Cam Payne, both out for the Phoenix Suns. Over on the Washington Wizards side, we got to stay tuned with the Bradley Beal news because Bradley Beal is currently sitting as a GTD. That's a game time decision. His status is up in the air. We're not sure if he's going to be playing or not tonight. We did see Daniel Gafford get absolutely murdered by Joel Embiid, so maybe DeAndre Ayton's in a good spot tonight if Gafford gets the start again. Ayton versus Gafford, no Devin Booker. Suns are playing pretty short-handed. This might be a good spot for us to look at DeAndre Ayton. If you wanted to go DeAndre Ayton, what is the best way to play Ayton? Well, I don't know. Maybe his points at 20.5. He's had some pretty good scoring outputs. 30 points against Washington, which is who he's playing again tonight. 22 against Denver and Nikola Jokic. So you could go there. Like I said, Joel Embiid had a monster game. I'm not saying DeAndre Ayton is the player that Joel Embiid is. Wouldn't say that. Wouldn't go that far. But he should be in a pretty good spot tonight going up against the likes of Daniel Gafford and or Kristaps Porzingis. So keep your eye on Ayton. Points and rebounds, maybe even points, rebounds, and assists. He could be in for a good night against the Wizards. Moving on from that game, Brooklyn at Atlanta. All right, so I put Kevin Durant on today's thumbnail for a reason. Because my man KD seems to excel, at least since he's arrived in Brooklyn. He seems to excel when going against the Atlanta Hawks. We saw DeAndre Hunter sit out last night. Clint Capella sit out last night. I ended up taking John Collins over 12.5 points, and he absolutely crushed it. He had a great game against the Indiana Pacers. So that could be an option. If Capella and Hunter are out again today, maybe we go to John Collins, depending on what his points line is. But we're talking Kevin Durant. And I've already pulled this up on StatMuse just to kind of save us some time here. Kevin Durant logs versus Hawks, and I'm including games that are playoff games. Now, I just want to take a look at what he's done here because these stat lines are pretty eye-opening. Now, just the games where he's been a Brooklyn Net. All right, 33 points his first game as a Net versus the Hawks. 33 points. 28 points, not bad. Came a little bit short on today's 28.5 line, but 32 against Atlanta, 32 against Atlanta, 31 against Atlanta, 55 points against Atlanta in Atlanta, and then 34 points as recently as this season, December 9th, about 19 days ago, in fact. So 30 or more points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of his last 7 games against the Hawks. I would say that that's a pretty high success rate, right? So Kevin Durant made today's thumbnail because of that reason. His dominance over the Hawks since arriving to Brooklyn cannot be overlooked. All right. So how would I play Kevin Durant? Well, I mentioned his points, really high hit rate there. He's only missed his points once against the Hawks, and it was by the hook, finishing with 28. He would have needed one more point based on today's line of 28.5. So I think his points are always going to be a good look, always going to be in play. But what about some of these other options? We got Kevin Durant. How about his fantasy score? He's at 45.5 fantasy today. He has covered this number in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 7 since joining the Brooklyn Nets on 45.5 fantasy points. But we go back even further, 8, 9. He's 9 for his last 9 overall against Atlanta, covering 45.5 fantasy score. Perfect record as a Net against the Hawks, right? So you definitely could put the fantasy score in there. So I would rank fantasy score number 1, being that he's hit it in every single game that he's played the Hawks in. Then I would probably put the points number 2. What about PRA? Because PRA, very similar to fantasy score. You don't get quite as much, for like blocks and steals. You don't get anything in PRA. But Kevin Durant's been known to get some blocks and steals. So let's take a look at the points plus rebounds plus assist logs versus the Hawks. He's at 39.5 PRA. He's hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of his last 7. So he's 6 of 7 on the points, 6 of 7 on the PRA. So the fantasy score still reigns supreme. It's the only prop that he's perfect against the Atlanta Hawks since joining the Brooklyn Nets. All right, so I would rank fantasy score number 1, and then you could either go points and or PRA as an option. So this is why I like playing on PrizePicks, because PrizePicks gives you the option of fantasy score. You don't get that on sports books. So we got something kind of unique here with PrizePicks. Let's get you a projection on Kevin Durant's fantasy score. He is projected for 47.7 FanDuel points. Again, FanDuel scoring just like PrizePicks scoring, apples to apples comparison. But yeah, I got Kevin Durant for 47.7 fantasy score. So I think that he is definitely a worthwhile option when it comes to fantasy score. I would take him for more than 45.5. Don't be surprised if this gets bumped up at some point. Are you guys liking fantasy score? Are you liking the points? Are you liking the PRA? Are you liking Kevin Durant at all today? Let me know if you're joining me in the live chat. Let me know if you're in the comments section catching this replay. But this looks like a really good option right here. KD over 45.5 fantasy score going up against the Hawks. As I mentioned, guys, maybe you just got here. He's hit this in every single game as a Brooklyn Net, and he's hit this in, 9 straight, right? And if we go back even further, this bleeds back into his OKC days. I mean, he's hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 out of 13? 12 out of his last 13. For some reason, he likes playing against Atlanta. I think that's pretty safe to say. I think we've uncovered this, right? So maybe get some KD in your entries tonight, whether it be points, PRA, or my favorite, which looks like fantasy score. All right, let's move on. We talked about the Atlanta side of things. There's a lot of pending injury news here. We had no Capella. We had no DeAndre Hunter. We may not see Trae Young. He ended up leaving yesterday's game a little bit early. If he's out, then it's going to be DeJounte Murray and John Collins really kind of holding things down. Those are going to be your two focal points, your two centerpieces for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, this game's got a total of 235 points, but it is a 6.5 point spread. So if you get multiple key starters, key players for the Atlanta Hawks sitting out tonight, this game could turn into a potential blowout. So maybe you go KD first half only if you're worried about the blowout. We could take a look at that too. In fact, let's do that real quick. For those of you who want to avoid a blowout scenario, which could very well happen, right? If Atlanta sits multiple players, this game could end up being a not very competitive game. Not very competitive. So let's take a look at Kevin Durant's first half game logs going up against the Atlanta Hawks. We'll start with the fantasy score, which I mentioned was my favorite way to play KD. His first half fantasy score is at 22.5. He's hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 7. 5 out of 7 as a Brooklyn Net. All right. What about his points? Just the points for first half only. Kevin Durant's points are set at 14.5. He's hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row. 5 out of 7 as a Brooklyn Net. So that's still not a bad hit rate for first half only. So you got his points at 14.5. Fantasy score at 22.5. And then you got the PRA at 19.5. So let's take a look at those as well. See if hit rates get any higher. First half PRA, he needs at least 20. He's hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row. And 6 out of 7 overall since joining the Brooklyn Nets going up against the Atlanta Hawks. So first half only looks like PRA would be the first option. And then points or fantasy score the second option. So if you wanted to play Kevin Durant first half only, his PRA looks like the way to go. All right. PRA's been doing pretty well here for the most part for matchups against the Atlanta Hawks. We take a look at like some of the recent game logs here. He's 3 out of his last 5 at 19.5 first half only PRA. His fantasy score, 2 out of 5. All right. So the PRA, better hit rate than the fantasy score recently. And then the points are also 3 out of 5, just like the PRA. So I'd go PRA if you're thinking about going first half only on KD. That one's got the highest hit rate. He's done it 6 out of 7 games against the Hawks since joining the Brooklyn Nets. You guys can kind of see these StatMuse logs here for Kevin Durant versus Atlanta. All right. But just stay on top of the Atlanta Hawks news for now. We'll just leave it as Kevin Durant first half fantasy score. All right, moving on from that game because we're still waiting on news from the Hawks side. 7:30 p.m., we got LeBron James returning to Miami, taking on the former team that he played for, the Miami Heat. Let's see if we've got any LeBron James props up on the board. No LeBron just yet. LeBron is currently a game time decision. Juan Toscano-Anderson, game time decision. His presence is not very impactful. Whether he's in or out doesn't really matter a whole lot. And then you got Anthony Davis, who's out. AD is going to be out for a number of games. No timetable for his return. So LeBron James heading back to Miami. I think a lot of this is going to hinge on what the Miami Heat end up doing in terms of who they're going to start and who they're going to bench. So we got Martin. He looks like he's very likely to play tonight, even though he's set as a game time decision. The real question marks lie with the top 2 players for Miami, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, both game time decisions. We're not sure if they're going to play or not. Their status is truly up in the air. Outside of those 2 guys, I mean, you've got Udonis Haslem, game time decision. Gabe Vincent, game time decision. Dwayne Dedman is out. Omer Yurtseven is out. So it's really going to be a question of if Bam, if Jimmy are playing tonight. That's probably why we don't have any props up from the Miami Heat. I don't even think they have, they don't have Harrow. They don't have anybody up. So we're going to have to wait and see on this one. But the total as of right now is 226.5. It's an 8.5 point spread. It favors the Miami Heat. Lakers are on a back-to-back. They just played Orlando last night, obviously. So maybe that take that into consideration. But we could take a look at some of the LeBron James game logs here using StatMuse. LeBron James, get my fingers to work here. LeBron James game logs versus Heat. All right, we want to see how he's done as a member of the Lakers facing off against his former team, the Miami Heat. He's had 51 points at Miami with 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. That was his first game to Miami as a member of the Lakers. He followed that game up. This was in LA, 28 points, 9 rebounds, 12 assists. Great game there. 25, 4, and 6. 28, 9, and 12, 19, 9, and 9, and then 33 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals in his last game, which again was in Miami. So he seems to play better when he's playing in Miami since joining the Lakers. Again, he had in 38 minutes, 51, 8, 3, 2, and 1. He also had a 28, 9, 12, and 1 game, and he also had a 33, 11, 4, and 2 game. So big games put up by LeBron when he returns to Miami. Hopefully he plays tonight. That would be fun to see him back in Miami, back in the 305. So we'll have to see if LeBron ends up playing or not. Moving on from that game, since there's so much pending injury news there, somebody's saying that that LeBron James is, did somebody say doubtful to play? Chris Raptor says LeBron James is doubtful to play, but will start tonight with Wade at party. Okay, all right. Todd says, get the likes up. Todd, I appreciate you for reminding the people to slap that like button. 8 o'clock, Minnesota Timberwolves, New Orleans Pelicans. This one's potentially good here. We've got Anderson as a game time decision. McLaughlin, Prince, and of course, Karl Anthony Towns all out for Minnesota. They're going to be taking on New Orleans, who have been dealing with a number of injuries in their own right. So you've got Herbert Jones, game time decision. Brandon Ingram is out. It looks like Zion Williamson is likely to play tonight. He is considered a game time decision, as is Murphy and Daniels, but it would be a big get for the New Orleans Pelicans if Zion Williamson is healthy enough to go tonight. Now, if he is healthy enough to go tonight, maybe we look at Rudy Gobert as like an underplay. I mentioned Gobert a little bit the other night. He could not take advantage of a very weak Miami Heat front court, but maybe we look to take an under on Rudy Gobert going up against Jonas Valanciunas. Now that Zion Williamson's in there, Gobert's going to have his work cut out for him. The reason I mentioned Gobert as a possible under is because when Joe Val and Zion are both in there, they don't typically allow a whole lot of points, rebounds, assists to opposing centers. So we go down and we find the New Orleans Pelicans. Guys, for the season, they're giving up about 21 to 22 points, 15 boards, and 3 assists. But in the last 7 games, I want to say that those numbers get worse. Let's just double check. New Orleans, 23, 14, and 3. So maybe we look at Gobert, who's kind of been underperforming lately in like the PRA category, right? 22 against Boston, just 18 against Miami. He's going to probably have his work cut out for him going up against Joe Val and the man known as Zion Williamson. So that could be a possible underplay. You guys don't want to play him over, so, that leaves up one other option. You play him under. Anyways, outside of that, I mean, you could go like a D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards. I think Anthony Edwards is kind of low today in terms of his points line, especially with the injuries to the New Orleans Pelicans. No Brandon Ingram. If Herbert Jones sits out, defensively, they get a lot weaker without B.I. and without Herbert Jones in there. So maybe Ant-Man, who's at 24.5 points. He's gone over this line in 4 out of his last 5. 37 against Chicago, 27 against Dallas, 30 against Boston, 29 against Miami. So he's scoring some big points against some tough teams. Miami, Boston, Dallas, Chicago. Like, these are not push-over teams. So he's hit 25 or more in 4 out of his last 5 games, averaging a very healthy 29.2 So that could be an option for you to go to. Moving on from that game, huge total though, 233.5 with a 6.5 point spread. The next game is Milwaukee at Chicago. Now, I mentioned that my guy, Wesley Winston, he shouted out a play that he was liking. And I want to bring it to your attention because Nikola Vucevic, Boochie man, typically has some pretty good games when he faces the Milwaukee Bucks. This game total is 232.5. It's just a 4.5 point spread. We're getting Vucevic at home tonight, hosting the Milwaukee Bucks. They're going to be without Chris Middleton. Drew Holiday is a game time decision, but he is probable to go tonight. So we're probably going to see Drew Holiday. Well, we're definitely not going to see Chris Middleton. So it'll be Holiday, Allen, Connaughton, Antetokounmpo, and Brook Lopez manning the middle. For the Chicago Bulls, keep an eye on Alex Caruso. He has a game time decision. Javonte Green, game time decision. Jones is doubtful. He probably will not play tonight. Lonzo Ball obviously is out. But let's talk about Vucevic. My guy Wesley, he's really liking some Vucevic points. So we're going to pull up his game logs real quick and show you the historical significance of Nikola Vucevic when he goes up against the Milwaukee Bucks. So Nikola Vucevic points versus Bucks logs, and we'll also include playoffs just in case these teams have ever met up in the playoffs. So Vucevic is sitting at 15.5 points. Let's take a look at it. Since joining the Chicago Bulls, he's had 17 or more points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 11. So he's 9 out of 11 with more than 15.5 points against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, if we extend this out even further and go back to his Orlando days, well, it gets even sweeter. 28 points, 22, 31, 20, 32, 35, 21, and 21. So he's hit this number, 15.5 points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 out of his last 19 if you want to extend his game logs back to the Orlando days. Otherwise, 9 out of 11 since joining the Bulls, which still isn't too shabby, right? Seems to play pretty well. Another option that you could go is possibly with the points and rebounds or PRA. We'll take a look at both of those as well. I don't think points and rebounds are up at 24.5. So let's go combo here. We'll go points plus rebounds versus the Bucks, including playoff games. He needs at least 25. How many times has he done it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 11 since joining the Bulls. Not quite as sweet as just the points on their own. What about the PRA? We could look into that one as well. Points, rebounds, and assists. He needs at least 28. How many times has he done it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 11 on that as well. So the PRA, the points and rebounds, both 8 out of 11. The points, 9 out of 11. Slightly higher hit rate. And then we could also look at the fantasy score because Vooch is pretty good about getting a block, a steal every once in a while. We'll also look at the fantasy points. Those should never be overlooked. So we go Nikola Vucevic, FanDuel points versus Bucks logs, including playoffs. He needs at least 33.6 or more fantasy points. How many times has he done it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of his last 11 games. So not quite as sweet. So the king of all these props would probably be this one right here, his points at 15.5. Let's get you a projection on these Nikola Vucevic points going up against the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. 9 for his last 11 since joining the Chicago Bulls. We got Vucevic projected for 16.1 points according to the action projection tools. He's at 15.5 on all sports books right now. Some slight juice, slight action starting to come in on the over on some of these smaller books. Minus 115 odds to go over 15.5 points. So nice projection, 16.1. We need 16 or more points out of him. And he's done a pretty darn good job when he faces off against the Milwaukee Bucks. So he's a guy to kind of have on your radar. Feel free to jump on StatMuse or props.cash. If you're not using props.cash, I could save you 25% off your first month when you use promo code Curry. Get on props.cash and you can dig around some more on some Nikola Vucevic props against this Milwaukee Bucks squad. But this game total looks pretty good at 232.5. I think Bobby Portis is another guy that I'll have my eye on from the Milwaukee side. This is kind of like a revenge game, so to speak. I don't think we have any Bobby P props up just yet, other than the free throw makes. I don't know. Probably not my favorite way to play Bobby Portis. Let's go Bobby Portis logs versus Bulls, include playoffs, and just see how he's done against the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, I mean, he usually smashes the glass, so I don't know what his his rebound prop would be today, but he's got 12 boards, 17, 10 boards, 16 boards, 12 boards. So if they put his rebounds up and they're sitting at like 9.5 or 10.5, I would say you'd probably want to take the over on his rebounds. But what about these free throw makes? Is there anything here? Not really. 0, 0, 1, 0. Nothing significant, right? So keep an eye on the rebounds, points and rebounds, or possibly even the fantasy score. Seems like Bobby P likes playing against his former team, the Chicago Bulls. Anyway, moving on from that game, Utah at Golden State tips off at 10 p.m. Kelly Olynyk, game time decision. I've been playing some Walker Kessler. I think Walker Kessler is in play again for me tonight if Kelly Olynyk sits out. I like Walker Kessler against Kevon Looney and this soft Golden State Warriors team. Outside of that, on the Golden State Warriors side, looks like Steph Curry's still out. Klay Thompson's probably going to sit out tonight. No Andre Iguodala, no Andrew Wiggins. So it's going to be Jordan Poole, Moses Moody, Dante DiVincenzo, a.k.a. the guy they call Ragu. At least that's what I call him. Draymond Green and Kevon Looney in the starting lineup. You'll probably see a lot of Jonathan Kuminga at some point. He had himself a pretty good game last night, but yet 233.5 points, 4-point spread. Could be another Walker Kessler type of game, depending on who ends up starting. If it's Kelly Olynyk, if he's healthy to go, he'll start. Then Walker Kessler will return to the bench. But outside of that, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you go Jordan Poole. I went to his turnovers last night. Those ended up falling short by 1. I kind of knew it was risky, but I did it anyway. But no Klay Thompson tonight, so maybe Jordan Poole gets back on track here, turning the ball over 4 or more times. He's got very high hit rates, does Jordan Poole, when it comes to turning over the basketball. Let's just take a look at him real quick for those of you who don't know. My man Poole, he likes turning the basketball over. He's 21 for 35 this season, 60% hit rate. Now that in and of itself is a pretty darn good hit rate at 60%. But when we take Steph Curry out of the mix, let's see. Oh, that's Jordan Clarkson. My B. Where is Jordan Poole? They don't even have Poole up here. Hold on, let me refresh. Maybe Props.Cash. Maybe they'll have him up here. But Jordan Clarkson, also a turnover machine, but only when Colin Sexton's out. That's the only time I play him. Let's see. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Jordan Poole, 3.5 turnovers. Okay, for the season, he is 17 for 35, 49%. But when we take Curry out of the mix, he's now turning the ball over at a 3.9 turnover per game rate. 18 for 26, 69% hit rate. If we look at just like his last 10 games, well, he is 9 for 10. He missed last night against Charlotte with just 3 turnovers, but prior to that, had hit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight games without Steph Curry. If we go back even further here, 9, 10, 11, 12. He was like 12 of 13 in games played without Curry. And then you take Wiggins out of the situation as well. You look at his hit rates, last 10 games without, there we go. Last 10 games without Curry and Wiggins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 10. Again, had a perfect streak going until last night's game where he only ended up turning it over 3 times. So again, maybe this is one where we go back to it. Now that Klay Thompson's out tonight, maybe even more ball handling duties fall upon Jordan Poole tonight, and he ends up turning that ball over at least 4 times. All right. Outside of that, let's see. Anything else that stands out? Probably not. Not at this juncture on this first look. Which brings us to the last game of the night, which is kind of interesting because these two teams just played last night. Denver Nuggets taking on the Sacramento Kings. It sounds like Domantas Sabonis might end up missing again tonight. I don't even know if we have any props from this game up on the board yet. Let me look. Nope, nothing on the board just yet. But as I mentioned, Michael Porter Jr., if he's at like 21.5, 22.5 points plus rebounds, I think that's another good look. We could run that one back. Jamal Murray was at 20.5 points. I took the over on that. That ended up hitting. Wouldn't be surprised if he's at 21.5 or something tonight if they bump each of those guys up a point. But outside of that, I mean, Kevin Huerter had himself a pretty good game. You could go Kevin Huerter. De'Aaron Fox kind of underperformed, so we'll have to wait and see. Bruce Brown ended up leaving the game last night early. He's a game time decision for today. Aaron Gordon, also a game time decision, so they could be without 2 of their top players. So we'll have to see how things shake out there. But 236 points with a 2.5 point spread. Not looking too shabby, but these are a couple of plays to kind of get you started. Kevin Durant over 45.5 fantasy score. Nikola Vucevic over 15.5 points. But yeah, as Todd says, you know, we miss Sabonis because we like those Sabonis assists. So, all right, gang, if you guys have any questions, throw them at me. You can use the super chat function in the live chat window to drop me a super chat, and I'll be happy to do a deep dive on any of your questions. But yeah, I think these are some good plays. Good start anyway for your entries. Kevin Durant over 45.5 fantasy score. We talked about Nick Vucevic for points. I'll let you take a look at that again. He's hit the points prop in 9 of his last 11 games versus the Milwaukee Bucks since joining the Chicago Bulls. And then, of course, we talked about KD. You could go PRA first half only on Kevin Durant, or if you want to run his full game fantasy score at 45.5, here's the game logs since joining the Brooklyn Nets. He's done a great job. Great job covering the 45.5 fantasy score. So I like these two. I think this is, like I said, a good start to some of your entries. Just going through some of your questions here. I see a couple of questions coming through. Like I said, guys, I'm not going to be able to get to all of them, but I'll try to get to as many as possible. Appreciate everybody for being here. Swisher Roll Tight says, thanks for the plays and info today. You're welcome, my friend. Thanks for being here and supporting. What about Giannis? Giannis, I want to say, has done some pretty good things against the Chicago Bulls. Typically, I play Giannis rebounds. Let's look at Giannis rebounds versus Bulls logs real quick. Yeah, he's done some pretty good work when it comes to rebounding the basketball here. Let's just do a searchy search for him. He's at 11.5 boards today. He's missed it in 2 of his last 2 games against the Bulls, but prior to that had 17, 16, 12, 12, and 14. So he had a 5-game streak going against Chicago. A couple of dud games here, 10 boards in each of the last 2. It's kind of crazy saying 10 rebounds is a dud, but for him it is a lower output. 16, 17 in previous games. So he's hit the over on his 11.5 rebounds in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of his last 11. That's not terrible. That's not too shabby. What about some of these other Giannis options? You can go Giannis points plus rebounds, perhaps. See how those look. Points plus rebounds. He is sitting at 43.5. How many times has he gone over? 1, 2, just 2. Ugh, that's not too encouraging. 2 in his last 8 games or something like that. So that's an option. What about rebounds plus assists? He needs at least 18. So he's hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of his last 8-ish. It's looking kind of tough here. Some of these Giannis lines are looking a little tough, my friends. A little too tough, a little too tight for me to feel comfortable here. Free throw makes, I'm looking at those. 6, 3, 6, 10, he hits it in that one. Ties with 8, 10, he hits in that one. 3, 6, 5. A lot of these games he's gone under. Tied or gone under. So, I don't know. You guys are saying points, but he's at 32.5 points. How many? Let's look at some of these points plus. Point plus rebounds. Did we look at the points plus rebounds plus assists? Let's go PRA on Giannis and see how that looks. His PRA is at 49.5. Sheesh, that's high. So he needs at least 50, 54, 55, 52. He's done it 3 times out of his last 6 games, 3 out of his last 7, 8, 3 out of his last 8, roughly. These Giannis lines are looking kind of sharp. Let's see. Who playing Draymond Green over 0.5 threes? Not me. Not going to do it. Brook Lopez, first half PRA, possibly. We talked about Brook Lopez. He's had some pretty good games against the Chicago Bulls. You go first half points plus rebounds plus assists versus Bulls. Oh, you got to include the word logs. Can't forget the logs. Got to have the logs in there. Let's look at Brook Lopez here. NBA first half. PRA. Where's Lopez? Let's find the big fella. Big fella's at 10.5 PRA. So he's hit this in 5 out of his last 5 games. We take a look at what he's done against Chicago: 21, 14, 15, 18, and 13. So he's cleared this in 5 out of his last 5 games going up against the Chicago Bulls. We push this out even further: 6 out of his last 7, 7 out of his last 9. That's not terrible. That's not bad at all. So you could go Lopez PRA. I don't mind that. That's looking like a pretty good look. Let's see. What else do they have Lopez up here for? 6.5 points. He's hit that in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight games against the Chicago Bulls. Pretty good success rate there. So you could go points. You could go PRA. What about the FanDuel points for first half? Let's look at those. I call them FanDuel points. Fantasy score, tomato. 13.5. He's hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight games, 6 straight games against Chicago, 7 out of his last 8. All right, not too bad. So you could go any of these first half options here for Brook Lopez. Fantasy score recently, 4 for 5. PRA, 5 for 5. Points, 3 for 5. So I'd fire up the PRA. In fact, let's go ahead and do it. We'll go KD over full game fantasy. We'll go Nikola Vucevic over 15.5 points. And we could go Brook Lopez over 10.5 first half PRA. I think that makes for a solid little 3-pick. Solid little 3-pick. What about Nikola Vucevic first half? Let's see. Vucevic first half FanDuel points versus Bucks logs. We talked about how he's done in full game scenarios. Well, what about Vucevic for a first half? Let's see, 7.5 points. He's covered this in just 1, 2, 3 out of his last 5 or so. So I'm not real interested in that. How about the fantasy score at 16.5 against the Bucks? 1, 2, 3, 4 out of his last 6. Ugh, that's kind of not good. Let's go include playoffs here. I think we're missing some games. There we go. So we include the playoffs. He's hit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 11. 8 out of 11 first half fantasy against the Milwaukee Bucks. And then let's look at the points one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 11. So the fantasy score, slightly higher hit rate if you want to go first half only on Vucevic. Let's talk about the PRA, and I'll get to this super chat that just came through. Appreciate the super chat. 14 or more PRA in the first half. How many times has he done it against the Bucks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 9, 10, 11. So 8 out of 11. PRA first half is probably going to be your highest hitting one from what it looks like. Then fantasy score, and then the points would be third. So that's how you would order these. So we could do let's do a first half only slip. I'm going to do a first half only. I'm going to do Vucevic for more than 13.5 points, rebounds, and assists. We'll go Lopez PRA as well. And then I think we're going to do Kevin Durant PRA. We talked about the first half for KD at 19.5 being his highest hitting. So we'll do a first half only. What do I want to put on this? Well, I got 88.25. Let's go 18.25. I'll make it a flex play because, I just like to flex. I'm in no hurry to get rich. I'll never get rich, wealthy, and die off of playing on PrizePicks. So I'm in no rush. I don't need to pay bills or anything. And if you do, you shouldn't be playing on PrizePicks. So we'll go 18.25. Weird number, but that's what we went with. 18.25. Flex play. If we win, 41.06 comes back to us. Lopez over 10.5 PRA. Vucevic over 13.5 PRA. And we'll go KD over 19.5 PRA. These are all first half only plays, but all of these guys are in play for a full game. So there you go. There's an entry to wet your beak on this lovely morning or afternoon. Let's see. We got to address these super chats that are coming through here. We got a couple. One from Fear Shaolin. He's liking DeMar DeRozan over PRA. Nick Claxton over steals and blocks. And Franz Wagner over PRA. So let's look at those for my man Fear Shaolin. Again, thank you for the super chat. It really does go a long way. Every little bit helps and counts toward, keeping the channel flowing, man. Keeping me going here. So we'll start with DeMar DeRozan. You liked DeRozan for, what was it, PRA over PRA at 34.5. Ooh, okay. We pop that little game log open. We see a lot of green bars in there. We like green bars. Green bars are better than red bars if we're thinking about taking overs, right, gang? So Milwaukee versus Chicago, DeMar DeRozan. Let's just take a quick look here. We're going to do a deep dive from my man, Fierce Shaolin. Going to give you your money's worth. Appreciate that super chat, as always. DeMar DeRozan, 36.1 points, rebounds, and assists per game this season. So that 36.1, nearly 2 points higher than the 34.5 line that he's sitting at today. He's got a 64% hit rate this season. That's 21 for 35. If we look at the last several games here, let's see, last 10, he is 8 for 10, 80%, averaging 39.5 in his last 10 games. He's at 34.5, so that's a difference of 5. That's pretty significant. Last 30 games, let's see. Let's count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 out of his last 19. That's pretty damn good. 15 out of his last 19 is not too shabby. What about against Milwaukee? Well, he's already got a game where he had 48 points, rebounds, and assists against the Bucks. That was November 23rd. So that's looking good. We go back to previous games against the Bucks. It's been a little hit or miss. 5 for 10, 50% hit rate, averaging 36 points, rebounds, and assists against the Bucks. But 48 already once this season. Pretty high hit rates this season as well at this 34.5 PRA number. Has a very high hit rate, 15 out of his last 19, 8 out of his last 10. And then we could take a look at his splits, home versus road. He's going to be at home tonight, where he has not hit quite so well as he has on the road. But he's really picked it up here in his last several games. 8 of 15 on the season, but he has hit the over in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of his last 7, 8 out of his last 10 when playing at home. So an 80% hit rate in his last 10 games. Starting to pick it up. 35.6 PRA in his last 10, 37.2 PRA in his last 5, hitting in 4 out of his last 5. So slow start to the season for him, playing in front of the home crowd, but lately DeMar DeRozan's really started to pick up the pace. Let's get you a projection on this PRA for DeMar DeRozan. DeRozan, I've got projected for 38.1 points, rebounds, and assists. Again, he's at 34.5 here on PrizePicks. Not only is he at 34.5 on PrizePicks, but FanDuel's already got him up at 35.5. Some of these other books and sites have him at 35.5 as well. So we're paying less on PrizePicks. He's 1 point lower at 34.5 today. So I don't mind that. I think we could rock with that. We could probably put that with like Nikola Vucevic at 15.5 points. We talked about Kevin Durant and his fantasy score being a good look. So if we want to make a full game type of entry here, that could be a good start. A nice little 3-pick foundation to start your day off, right? That could be a good look. Let's see here. What other ones did you like in your super chat? Nick Claxton over steals and blocks. Let's look at Nick Claxton real quick. Nicholas Claxton's at 2.5. It sounds like a lot until you open up the guy's game logs and you see how many shots he's blocking, steals he's recording. He's had 7, 3, 3, 3, and 3. So 3 or more steals and blocks or stocks in 5 straight games. Pretty nasty. Dude's doing work on the defensive end. Let's take a look at some of these other game logs here beyond the last 5 games. And we can do that using props.cash. In case you guys are wondering what site this is, it is props.cash. 22 out of his 31 games that he's played this season, he's recorded 3 or more stocks, steals, and blocks. That's a 71% hit rate. Again, pretty significant hit rate there on a stat like steals and blocks. Doing a really good job, averaging 3 stocks per game this season, 3.4 in the last 10, and that number has increased to 3.8 in his last 5. So things are trending upwards for young Nick Claxton, recording more steals and blocks in his last 10 and in his last 5 games than he has over the course of the entire season. If we look at the last 10 games, 9 for 10, 90% hit rate. Again, not too shabby. For me, it's going to depend on who's playing for the Atlanta Hawks on the other side there. I think that's going to be a factor. This will be the first time that Claxton plays against the Atlanta Hawks this season. If we check back last season, 0-4-2. No stocks in one game, just one stock in the next game. So that's the way things have been going here for Nicholas Claxton last 10 games. Super high hit rate at 90%. Of course, as we talked about with like Jordan Poole's turnovers last night, LaMelo Ball's 3-point makes last night, all good things must come to an end. Nothing lasts forever. Don't fall into the trap, the lull of these green bars are going to stay green forever. Don't convince yourself that because it's hit in 9 straight games, that's going to hit for that 10th game. Now it might. It very well could, but if it doesn't, don't be surprised, because what goes up inevitably must come down. Let me see if I got a Nicholas Claxton blocks and steals projection for you today. I got Nicholas Claxton projected for 2.9. That's really close to 3, but here's the catch. Here's the kicker. There's people out there who are betting the under. He is a minus 130 betting favorite to go under 2.5 steals and blocks. They kind of set us up last night with a couple of these props. One was LaMelo Ball. They set us up with that one at 3.5 3-point makes. Do you think that the lines makers at PrizePicks didn't have any idea that LaMelo Ball was hitting in 8 or 9 straight games on those 3-point makes? They knew damn well. But there was something about the prop. There was something about it. There was a reason why they offered it. They wouldn't be offering us layups out there or slam dunk plays unless there was a catch, right? There's always a catch. So the catch with Nicholas Claxton today is that you're going against the betting public. You're going against the odds. The odds are not in your favor in this case. Yes, he has hit in a lot of games. He very well could hit tonight, but you are going against the books, against the betting odds in this case. So proceed with caution. Same thing with Jordan Poole. I was like, man, he's got such a high hit rate on these turnovers at 3.5. Charlotte's doing a good job of turning the ball over when it comes to opposing point guards. They're forcing a lot of turnovers. But he was a minus 120 betting favorite to go under 3.5 turnovers last night. Well, guess what? Jordan Poole did not hit last night. I went against the odds and I paid the price. So this is one of those situations. You're going against the odds. There's something fishy, funky about it. I'm just going to stay away from it. And I had that feeling about LaMelo Ball last night and his 3-point makes. Like, it's weird that they're offering this, being that he's hit in 8 or 9 straight games. They're just sitting there hoping and praying and waiting for LaMelo Ball to fail. And ultimately, he ended up falling short on his 3-point makes last night. So just letting you know that there's a reason why this is on the board. Okay? He's 0 for 2 in his last 2 meetings against the Hawks. So maybe he just doesn't block a whole lot of shots against Atlanta, but it could be a trap. Okay, could be bait. We could be being baited here, like we were baited on Jordan Poole's turnovers, like we were baited on LaMelo Ball's 3-point makes. All right, your last one, Mr. Fear Shaolin. You liked Franz Wagner's PRA. Now, I would advise that you stay away from the Orlando Magic. I have advised this in the past. I think there are enough games, enough teams, enough different player props for you to find a different option. And the only reason I say stay away from the Orlando Magic is because they're getting healthier. And with them getting healthier, the rotations are changing, the minutes are changing, the chemistry, the makeup of the team is changing. That's going to impact a guy like Franz Wagner. That's going to impact a guy like Paolo Banchero, right? When you reintroduce a major player like Wendell Carter Jr. in the starting lineup, somebody's minutes have to go down. So far, it's been Bobo. His minutes have kind of came down. Your cornerstone pieces, Markelle Fultz, been getting big minutes at point guard. You still got Cole Anthony, who comes off the bench. He's like the 6th man now for Orlando. You got Wagner, you got Banchero, and you've got Wendell Carter Jr. Those are kind of your mainstays. Bobo's kind of finding himself as the odd man out, seeing fewer minutes. You can roll the dice if you want to and throw Franz Wagner out there, but I'm just letting you know that this Magic team is not one that I would bet on, especially the fact that they're getting healthier and healthier. But if you must, he's projected for 24.9 PRA. He is at 24.5 on a couple of books, but I would advise you just stay away. Just stay away. Stay away. Find a different play. Anyway. I think that was the last one. So there you go, Mr. Shaolin. I do like the DeMar DeRozan PRA. Looks like a pretty solid, pretty strong option, especially due to the fact that we are getting value. We're getting value on DeMar DeRozan's PRA versus some of these sports betting sports book sites. So, but yeah, I'm gonna fade Nick Claxton, and I'm gonna fade Franz Wagner, but I'm gonna take your DeMar DeRozan pick. I think that one looks the most solid out of the options that you have here. Todd Lift for Sundays came through with a super chat as well. He said, I looked at the previous two shows but didn't see it. I want to say that you might have won like 3 or 4 shows ago. I don't know. I don't remember when it was, but anyway. Definitely shoot me that PrizePicks email address, and I'll get you that risk-free 2-pick power play for you to win $100. Giving away one of those every single day. So you have won again, my friend. This time, hopefully you claim it. Osmosis Jones with a super chat. He says, we're getting wealthy. Just you wait, CJ. He says, also, Banchero bounce back points. Yeah, I mentioned that. I'm not afraid of going back to Banchero, but as I mentioned with Wagner, it's a little scary. The person that I would probably trust the most on the Orlando Magic would be Banchero. It would be Banchero for me. He's probably the highest usage player. He is probably the player that I would say is guaranteed to get the most shots, most touches. So if you wanted to go Banchero for points, I don't hate that at 19.5. I know he's had foul trouble against the Lakers, kind of a down game against San Antonio, but if you were going to go with any Orlando player, it would probably be Banchero and his points. That'd be about the only one I'd feel good about. He's projected for 22 today. He's a betting favorite, minus 125 to go over on the book. So it seems like some folks out there are putting that game behind them against the Lakers, where he had sort of a down scoring game against LA, and they expect him to come back in a big way against the Detroit Pistons. Let's just take a look at some more game logs here for Paolo Banchero. Obviously, he's the front runner for the Rookie of the Year award. I think he'll get it, and I think the Magic want him to get it. I think he'll be featured, and yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say about that. He's 20 for 28 on 19.5 points this season, 71% hit rate. One thing that I want to point out about Banchero, if you take a look at his game logs, right, the most games that he's had, consecutive games that he's had, is 2 where he stayed under 19.5. So he had like this little 18-point, 15-point game, but he did not have 3 games in a row going under 19.5. He bounced back with 22 after 2 sub-20 games. Same thing here, 19 against Philadelphia, 18 against Philadelphia, but he comes back with 24 in the next game. All right, had a bad game against Toronto with 9, came back with 20. 18 against Atlanta, came back with 23. Now he's had 2 bad games in a row, 18 and 4. 18 is not a bad game, but comparatively to a guy who's averaging 21.1 for the season, 18 is a bad game or an underperforming game. 18 and 4. This would be the first time all season that he's went under 20 points in 3 straight games, if it happens tonight. If it happens tonight, it would be the first time that he's gone under 19.5 points all season long. Normally, he bounces back after a couple bad games or 1 bad game. Now, he's already played the Detroit Pistons once. He had 27 points against Detroit. That was back in October 19th to be exact. 27 points at Detroit. They're playing at Detroit tonight. We know the Pistons defense, no bueno, not very good. 29th in total points allowed, 28th in field goal percentage, 16th in 3 points allowed, 14th in 3-point field goal percentage allowed. You got 27 when it comes to free throws allowed, and 26 in power forward defense. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to put him in there with DeMar DeRozan over PRA, Vucevic over points, KD over fantasy score, and I'll include Banchero in there at 19.5 points. If you don't feel good about it because he burned you and made your taco go soggy last night, don't take it. But I'm gonna ride with it. He's the only Magic player that I'm going to ride with, though. All right, we got another super chat coming through from My Filler Arc. My Filler Arc, thank you for the super chat. He says, what do y'all think? He's got Killian Hayes, I'm assuming that's Killian Hayes, over on his fantasy. Plus, he's liking the over on DeAndre Ayton points. Plus, he's liking the over on Nikola Vucevic over free throws. Just came in. Sorry if you spoke on this already. We briefly talked about Killian Hayes. We briefly talked about DeAndre Ayton. And I think I like Vucevic for his points more than anything at 15.5. But we did put a Vucevic line together, an entry together. Vucevic for more than 13.5 PRA versus Milwaukee. So you can follow this one if you want to follow this one. I got Lopez over PRA first half, Vucevic over PRA first half, and KD over PRA first half. All right. But to answer your question, let's take a closer look at Killian Hayes and his fantasy score, because that's not one that we've talked about in depth, really. He's at 29.5 fantasy score. He's going up against my Orlando Magic tonight. How dare you? How rude of you for wanting to attack Markelle Fultz, Franz Wagner, and whoever else we may be starting in that backcourt tonight with Killian Hayes and his fantasy score. But maybe you're onto something. Maybe it's not such a bad idea after all. We can look at Killian Hayes and his fantasy prowess here by going to StatMuse. We type in Killian Hayes, FanDuel points logs this season. And then we want to make sure we include without Cade Cunningham. Boom. Let's see here. How many times has he gone over 29.5 fantasy score? Well, he's done it in 1, 2, 3 out of his last 5. 3 out of his last 5. It's been a little inconsistent for this young man, though. 43.4, huge output there. 46.2, huge output there. But if we take a look at the last several games here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of his last 10 games, he has gone over this number of 29.5 in just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a 50% type of guy, a coin flip type of guy, his last 10 games without Cade Cunningham. So I'm a little, I don't know, not optimistic. I'm not optimistic that he does this tonight. Let's take a look at what he's done against the Orlando Magic. Tonight's opponent, Orlando. You're wanting to go at my Orlando Magic. Let's see here. Killian Hayes, FanDuel points logs versus the Orlando Magic. Come on. Don't give me the crying Michael Jordan. There we go. One game from this season. He had 28.5 fantasy score against the Magic in just 16 minutes. Very limited minutes, but very good fantasy point output at 28.5. So, yeah, maybe. I mean, Orlando, I will tell you this about Orlando. Now that we're starting to get healthy with Fultz, with Carter Jr. and some of these guys coming back, our defensive rating has been like top 5 in this last like 10 game span or so. We've been playing better defensively. Taking a look here for the season, though, Orlando's given up about 48 to 49 fantasy points per game to opposing point guards. That is a top 10 number, a top 10 figure. Take a look at the last 7 games. They're still giving up quite a few to opposing point guards at 52.4 fantasy points. So I can see why you're wanting to go to Killian Hayes here. I can get on board with it. I can see why you're wanting to do it. Let's take a look at a projection. I got Killian Hayes projected for 30.5. 30.5, and he's at 29.5 on PrizePicks. That's pretty tight. That's not a whole lot of wiggle room there for Mr. Killian Hayes. I'm going to probably sit out on this one. I don't think it's going to be one that I'm going to take. As somebody mentioned, Killian Hayes' assists have been pretty good. His assists are not up on the PrizePicks board. Points plus assists, though. You could go that route. Let's take a look at those real quick. Maybe that's the better move. Let's see. Points plus assist logs without Cade Cunningham this season. All right. So he needs at least 20, right? At least 20 points plus assists. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just, no, I can't trust this guy. I can't trust him. I'm not putting Killian Hayes in my entries tonight. Maybe he hits for you, but I'm not going to find out. I'm not going to pay to find out if he hits or not. I'll sit on the sideline. I'm going to fade him. What about DeAndre Ayton points? DeAndre Ayton's points. Let's look at those. Where's big D? DeAndre Ayton. What the hell is he? He's not up on the PrizePicks board. Did they pull him down? I guess they pulled him down. Did they pull down all the Suns? No, there he is. Why would that was weird. Anyway, yeah, he's at 20.5. We talked about how Joel Embiid just really abused Daniel Gafford and the Washington Wizards. Ayton just played Washington back on December 20th, 8 days ago, had 30 points against them. 18 against Memphis recently, 15 against Memphis. Did not play very well against Memphis in his last 2 games. So you throw those Memphis games out, and he's had 22 against Jokic and the Nuggets, 30 against Porzingis and Gafford and the Wizards, 21 against the Lakers. So Ayton's been doing pretty well so far this season, especially without Devin Booker when it comes to scoring the rock. So let's take a look at some more game logs here for DeAndre Ayton. We're going to look at his season. Let's remove Devin Booker. When we take Devin Booker out, his points per game, let's see, that did not update, I don't think. There we go. His points per game average jumps from 17.4 dating back to last season and this season to 20.1. So he definitely scores better or more on a point per game average without Devin Booker in there. For his last 18 games played without Booker, he's 9 for 18, which includes 3 for 6 this season. He's still a little dicey for me. He's still a little shaky, but yes, he did have that big game against Washington without Booker where he had 30 points against the Wizards in that one. So there's definitely that to kind of hang your hat on. As far as the projection goes, for DeAndre Ayton, I got him projected for 23.2 points. He's at 20.5 points, but being bet under on a site like DraftKings. You're seeing him being bet under at 20.5 on BetMGM as well. Some books have him at 21.5, but the fact that he's being bet under at 20.5 doesn't give me very much confidence in him, scoring 21 or more points. I'm just going to fade it. It looks a little weird right now. Maybe things change as we get closer to tip-off, but right now I'm going to fade DeAndre Ayton. I'm going to stay away from that. And then you had another one in there. You were asking about Vucevic on his free throws. Again, I'm going Vucevic points, but let's take a look at the free throws. I appreciate that super chat. Hopefully these answers are helping you with your decision making. Vucevic has had at least 1 or more free throws in 3 straight games, but 3 for his last 5 puts him at about 67%. Let's go back and take a look at Nikola Vucevic versus the Milwaukee Bucks tonight and just see if he's got a high hit rate when it comes to knocking down at least 1 free throw versus the Bucks. Vucevic FTM free throw makes versus Bucks logs, and then we'll do include playoffs. We could take a look at this. All right, so his last 5 games, the last 5 games that he's played against the Milwaukee Bucks, he has not recorded a single free throw. No free throw makes in his last 5 games combined against the Milwaukee Bucks. So he is 0 for his last 5 at finding a free throw. He's only hit this in 1 out of his last 8 games versus Milwaukee. That's not good. I wouldn't say that this is free. I wouldn't say that this is easy. I would say that this is absolutely, like everything else, a gamble. He's hit 1 or more free throws in 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 4 out of 11 against Milwaukee with 1 or more free throw makes since joining the Chicago Bulls. I'm going to stay away from it. I'm going to stay away from that. When we look at his points prop, he's hit that in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of his last 6 games. So that looks a little bit more encouraging. 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 11, I think we said. 9 out of 11 he's hit his points prop. So that's why I'm going to go with his points and leave those free throw makes alone, personally. But yeah, we got Banchero over 19.5 points, KD over 45.5 free fantasy score. 15.5 points for Vucevic. We're going to take the over on that, and we're going to go DeMar DeRozan's 34.5 PRA. I think those are 4 very solid options. Brantley, thank you for subscribing. Shaz, thank you for subscribing. Mr. Space Lee, appreciate you subscribing to the channel as well, my friend. So this is a little 4-piece. We could put a little something on that. I'll just make it $20. Flex it. 20 to win 100. Boom. Lock that in. If you tail these picks, it's because you agree with statistics. You agree with facts. You agree with the numbers. If you take it, it's because you agree with it. Don't be mad if it doesn't hit. We're still gambling. Things can look very good. They can look great. If you take it and it doesn't hit, it's not my fault. Damn it, we looked at the numbers together. Facts are facts. If you take any of these picks, it's because you agree with the information that I have provided. All right? Take accountability for your own money. If you don't like it, don't play it. Totally a gamble as always. Wait, why the KD fantasy? Well, damn it, man. Where have you been? We've talked about this about 3 or 4 times already. But I'll talk about it one more time just for you, my friend, because obviously you're late. You're late. Why the KD fantasy? Well, he's hit this in every single game since joining the Brooklyn Nets when he plays against the Atlanta Hawks. Every single time that he's played the Hawks, he has gone for more than 45.5 fantasy points. 49.8, 66.9, 53, 50.9, 46, 47.6, 61.7. He is perfect in covering his full game fantasy. 7 for 7 against Atlanta since joining the Brooklyn Nets. And if we take this back even further, he's hit in 9 of his last 9. 12 of his last 13 overall versus Atlanta. He just scores more than 45.5 fantasy points more often than not against the Hawks. So there you go. But that's why. So hopefully that makes some sense. Yes, it is tail at your own risk, Danky. Absolutely. If I had a crystal ball and could tell you that all of these picks would hit, I would not be on YouTube. I would not be wasting my time trying to find an edge. I'd have all the answers, and I'd be on a yacht somewhere, sipping something cold and alcoholic. What else we got here? We got another super chat coming through. How do we feel about Keegan Murray under on rebounds? Zenon Bowie. How do we feel about Keegan Murray under on rebounds? I think that's going to really depend on if Domantas Sabonis is in or out tonight. And I don't even know if we don't even have Keegan Murray up on the board. We've got Jamal Murray. So it's going to really depend on Domantas Sabonis' availability tonight. I don't know that we've seen many, if any, games with Keegan Murray without Sabonis. Have we ever seen this? One game? We got one game, and it was last night's game. One game. Keegan Murray has played without Domantas Sabonis, and it was last night against tonight's opponent, the Denver Nuggets. He played 31 minutes last night against Denver without Sabo. 11 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block. He did a little bit of everything, but you're asking about the rebounds. Under on the rebounds. I don't even know what his rebound line is. Is it like 4.5? Is it like 3.5? He only had 2 rebounds last night against tonight's opponent, the Denver Nuggets. They're running it back in case you've been living under a rock. It's another rematch, back-to-back type of game against the same team, same opponent. So to answer your question, I have no idea. I need more information. I need to see if Sabonis is in or out tonight. He did not play last night. Keegan Murray got 31 minutes, posted 11, 2 boards, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block. So I wish I could say more. I wish I could tell you more about your super chat here, but I'm dealing with limited information here. Let's just look at how Keegan Murray's rebounds have went in recent games. 2, again without Sabonis, just 2, 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 2. So he stayed under 5 rebounds in 7 straight games. He had 7 in this game, 2, 4, 4, 7, 6. So it depends, man. I don't know what his line is at. I don't know what his line is sitting at today. So it's kind of like, why talk about it? Because we can't really talk about it. There's nothing really to talk about until I know what his line is and if we know if Sabonis is in or out tonight. But I have no idea. So I wish I could tell you more. But I do appreciate the super chat, Mr. Bowie. We're at 1:30. Lake Boy. Hey, Lake Boy, you listening? Thank you for subscribing to the channel, Lake Boy. Appreciate you. I'm not going to get to everybody's questions, gang. I want to. I could sit here all day, but then, bathroom breaks, minor inconveniences like getting some lunch, finding something to eat, water, the essentials. So I can't sit here all day is what I'm trying to say, but I do appreciate all the questions. Guys, if you have any picks or plays that you're really liking, comment section. Go to the comment section and leave that. So make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button, go to the comment section. Once the show ends, the replay goes up on YouTube. You can go and comment your favorite pick and play of the day in the comment section to get yourself automatically entered to win a risk-free 2-pick power play on PrizePicks. I'm going to select somebody tomorrow's show from today's comment section. So make sure you go and do that. Apologies for anybody whose question I did not get a chance to get to, but I appreciate everybody who joins in. Hopefully you find these live streams, this show, to be informative, educational, and if nothing else, entertaining. All right, guys, good luck on all your entries tonight. If you're in Patreon, if you're in Discord, I'll see you in there, okay? Links to everything down in the description. Catch you in the next one. Peace.